affect your driving if you maybe smoke marijuana 2 weeks before that, but if it's still in your system, then you're going to catch it with that. Now, in terms of the question people ask often is, should I do the blood test? Should I blow into the alcohol detection device, breathalyzer? And in Arizona, you don't have much choice. If you refuse to do it, you're going to get an automatic driver's license suspension. And not only that, they have probable cause to believe that you're driving under the influence. You have bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, maybe smell of alcohol. They're going to go ahead and get a warrant from the judge, and they're going to go ahead and take that blood from you anyways without your consent. So not only will you have the driver's license suspension, there's a good chance you're going to get a DUI as well. Now, in terms of field sobriety tests, you can refuse to do field sobriety tests, and you will not use your driver's license. That's not considered a denial of a request to take a physical test, but they can actually use that in court against you and say that they refused to submit to field sobriety tests.
With regard to field sobriety tests, something to keep in mind is the only person judging whether or not you pass is the officer. There are no standard guidelines, like if you step off a line once, you pass. No, they could say one time you failed. So any field sobriety test you take, you are relying on that officer to say you passed it. Not a real good chance you're passing those if they think you're drunk. So I don't recommend you to take them, because any little error you make, and we're all human, so we just make them walking. I don't know how many of you've ever tripped just walking on the sidewalk, but he's gonna say, oh, clue that you were drunk. Clue that you were drunk. So your chances of passing any of those are not very good. And even the stigma test they do with the eyes, they say that's fail-proof. Not true. If you're diabetic, if you drink too much caffeine, if you have an eye stigmatism, there are several different ways that you are age.
Contact lenses.
There are several different ways to fail that test. So even though they tell you when they pull over, oh no, this was a guaranteed test, it is not. Don't take any of those.
I wouldn't. I would rather go to court, and if they say, hey, she didn't take those tests, I could say, or have my lawyer say, well, she's clumsy, she's not athletic, or she was really tired that day, or her foot was hurting, whatever.
One item you may consider if they ask you to do field sobriety is not necessarily, I would say, refuse to say, I'm not going to do that without an attorney present, because of providing potentially self-incriminating information against myself. In terms of the questions, if you're in a situation, hopefully you're not, that you smell like alcohol, your eyes are bloodshot, those are items that have gone beyond your control. One thing that you can control is the answers that you give to the police. So just don't tell them anything. The typical question will not be, have you had something to drink? It'll be, how many drinks have you had tonight? Where are you coming from? How was the party? That type of thing. So that's the only thing you can really control at this point. So I would answer any questions.
Their questions are tricky there too. On a scale of 1 to 10, how drunk are you? Oh, 1. Well, that's too bad. You're drunk. 0 was sober. They'll really try to trip you up. So I agree. Don't say anything.
If they can arrest you when they pull you over, they can search your vehicle. So if they have probable cause to arrest you for anything, be it DUI, be it warrant out for your arrest, they can search your vehicle.
Without a warrant?
Without a warrant. And they can search your entire vehicle. They can look under your seats. They can look in your glove box. If you're in the vehicle, if they remove you from the vehicle, the threat of what's in the vehicle has disappeared. So, one of the best ways to go about it is if the officer walks over to your vehicle and asks you to get out with your keys. Lock the door and shut it. Whatever is in the vehicle is no longer a threat to that officer because you do not have immediate access to it. However, if they're going to tow your car to the impound lot, they get to search it as incident to arrest because they're just inventorying whatever in your vehicle so that you don't claim they stole your drugs. That's kind of the way they proceed it. So if they're going to tow your car, they're going to search it. But if they say, call your friend to come get your car, they can't search your vehicle then, if you've already removed any sort of threat, because you don't have the ability to reach into that vehicle and pull out any weapon that will hurt them.
So if they get you out of your car and then they proceed to go and get into the car and search through it, then what do you do?
When you get out, when they first ask you to get out, you have the door already locked and you shut it.
And they say, give me your keys, I need probable cause to go search your car. I want to get in your car right now.
And you say, I'm not waiving my right to have you search my vehicle. If they go ahead and search it, you can't prevent that. But what you've done now is given your lawyer, yourself, opportunity to argue in court. There wasn't probable cause to search my car. I denied him access.
But don't make any statements about what you see them taking out of the car. Oh, that's not mine.
Yeah.
That's my brother's weed.
That's not a bomb.
Yeah.
So,
two actually kind of quick questions. In the event like you decide to record or film like your interaction with a police officer, if it's not possible to do it secret, like you're trying to film it, what would be the best way to, I mean, obviously it's going to escalate the situation, like what would be the best way to approach that, like?
I would just suggest, you know, officer, for my protection, I'm going to take this. And they may require you though to put the camera down somewhere,
Right.
and not allow you to pull it so you don't use it as a weapon, you know, to hit him in the head. Or my friends are going to record this, okay? They don't really have a right to ask you to turn it off, but they do have a right to tell you you can't hold it in your hands, you can't use it as a weapon.
And you do have to say, what if you record it, can that be, in secret, can that be used in court?
It can. In the state of Arizona, as long as one person who is a party to the conversation knows that the conversation is being recorded, it's legal.
That hit yourself?
That being yourself. So you're okay.
And that's audio and video?
Yes. That's fine.
And how about, whenever I try to record another stop, they always say you can't, and I don't think that's right.
That's not right, but you can't get in their way.
That's right.
Yes, but you can.
So the correct thing to say is just, I'm 40 feet away, I'm quiet.
Yep. I won't interfere with what you're doing, officer.
I'm interested in interacting with police at demonstrations and like civil disobedience situations. When they're videotaping, which they do usually nowadays, can you obscure their, I mean, can you put a sign in front of their camera without them retaliating? Because I've seen situations where they'll arrest someone who's trying to block the camera.
And in those types of situations, you could possibly be interfering with the police conduct. So there is a charge on the books for that. So yeah, if you are intentionally prohibiting them from doing a police investigation, they could arrest you for it.
Question I saw a film a while back. They recommended that if you were stopped and stay in your car, and the officer asked for your driver's license, you just, well, you keep the window rolled up when you stop. You just roll it down a little bit and slip it through, so that he can't, say, well, I smelled marijuana coming from the car or something like that. Would you agree with that? I mean, you said stay in your car.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you got a lot of odors in the car, that he's going to say he smells them anyways, whether you have this big of a gap or the window all the way down.
Yeah, I think that's something sometimes when people smoke marijuana, it's like in their sinuses and they don't realize how strong it smells to someone who wasn't smoking marijuana. So I don't think that would work. And I also think if the windows are tinted, that's not going to work either, because the police are going to make an officer safety claim that you may have, had a gun under the lower tinted part of the